Go.
Miss Yessian, you're not driving, are you? Okay, all right, good, good, good.
It was the only quiet place I could go.
7 Action News is here.
Can't hear.
We still have a lot of people flooding the waiting room, so I'm going to give it another 5 minutes of admitting, and then we'll get started. I'm just giving it to 5 after and then we'll get going. But there are still people flooding the waiting room, so I'm trying to get everyone in as possible before we start. $40 more people and me upgrading my Zoom account will be worth it. All right, well, it's past 5 minutes, so we'll get started. And I would like to begin, as many things do, with a sponsorship. Well, this is not an actual sponsorship, but this is my commercial. Today's meeting is brought to you by Medify Air. These are H13 medical grade HEPA filters. Now, they will filter out 99.9% of all particles down to 0.1 microns. That is not just viruses, that is pet dander, dust, allergens, and for our middle school students, odor. Now, each of these filters is going to be in the classroom, and each one, though small and stylish, will filter out the air in a 500 square foot space, which is the average size of a classroom, every 30 minutes. And the filters run for 2,500 hours, which is double the amount of hours that we spend in an entire school year. So we're going to change these things out annually, but the teachers have been instructed on how to clean them properly every month to keep that productivity running. Not only do they have an on button, but they also have a timer. So if our teachers set that timer for 8 hours in the morning, even if they forget to turn it off, they'll turn it off for them. So that's one thing that we've done, is every classroom is equipped with a H13 HEPA filter to be able to filter out the air every 30 minutes. in addition to trying to keep the windows open. And there's at least one study that shows that having an air filter in a classroom also increases productivity. Now, in addition to that, we have plexiglass dividers that should be arriving very soon by the start of the school year. We have touchless thermometers for every staff member. We have sanitizing stations. We have hand sanitizers in the classrooms. We are very much prepared with personal protective equipment. And we have 2,000 disposable masks that were donated. So if anyone does forget their mask, we do have some on hand. We also have lanyards that were donated for every student to be able to hook their mask to in case that they lose that throughout the day. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot that's been happening during the summer, aside from the extensive amount of gray in my beard and the receding hairline that stress has caused. You know, I want to thank everyone for attending and for submitting your questions. We have all been working diligently throughout the summer. There's been multiple Zoom meetings with the Archdiocese of Detroit, with my vicariate. I've had meetings with the Oakland County Health Department, and just trying to follow what the governor might do next has been a roller coaster throughout this time. You know, right now things have changed weekly, sometimes daily. So we want to be prepared for all of those adjustments. And, you know, I know that our return to learn plan didn't come out as promptly as some were hoping for, but remember that the policies and protocols that we have in that plan are following the Michigan State Safe Start Roadmap, the Archdiocesan policies, and the policies and protocols of the Oakland County Health Department. And had I put the document out even a week prior, I would have had to make a number of changes after following a meeting with the Oakland County Health Department to make sure that we have everything right. So some of these decisions, you know, based on the questions that were submitted, first, these were not my decisions, my protocols, my policies. These are the policies that we are following by the government mandate, the Archdiocese, and our local health department. You know, and we have, with all things, especially with the year that we've experienced since March, well, what our school has experienced since at least January, we have to have grace and understanding and patience as we move into a unique start for the school year. I want to thank you to the people who have emailed encouragement and support getting through this. That we've had parents that came out and ripped out shrubs. Now this is not COVID, but they've taken out shrubs to be able to, if we do have to have an emergency evacuation, no longer will your children worry about going into a bush. We have cleared those areas. We have tried to beautify the grounds a little bit too, in addition to everything that we're doing here. I am sitting in the library right now, which has been repurposed and redesigned for more social distancing. We have 2 sections in the corners where the glass block windows are, one for our learning specialist, Mrs. K, and on the other side, there is an area for Mrs. Lewis. The rest of the library is open. Now, this is going to be used for, you know, teacher workspace. This is going to be used for, you know, students who might need to take an assessment or have some additional social distancing. Library, like all the specials, will be going on a cart to the classrooms. So this area is a large space, an open space that we can utilize for multiple purposes as we move through this. And we do plan on recording a video early next week to show you what everything looks like. But we wanted to get some of those things handed out ahead of time. All the teachers received webcams today. We tested a USB extension cord, and I got those ordered for the rest of the classrooms so that when we do have recordings or live instruction, those will be available to the teachers for them to do that. One last thing before I get to all of the pages of questions that you wonderful people submitted to me, is the virtual or in-person decision we do need to have from you by Friday. And Mrs. Marchese, and Mrs. Marchese actually put up on School Speak, it'll immediately following this town hall, that link will be under quick links on School Speak, where you can select in-person or virtual. And then we have, if you've read the document, I know that there was 17 pages, and maybe not a romance novel, but still entertaining enough. And in that, it outlines kind of what we're doing for in-person, our virtual option during in-person, and then if we do go full virtual. Now, the only way we go full virtual is if there is a mandate from the governor, if we do slip into phase 3. But I will say one thing, with everything that we're going to discuss and everything that was in that plan, none of this matters if when the students go home, we're not also adhering to the policies and procedures to keep ourselves and our kids safe outside of the building. We have, I've heard of some adults within the community that have experienced the coronavirus for themselves. I know if you follow the news right now, colleges are changing their minds on some things because there are students going and partying, and there's graduation parties and things happening where people are being put at risk. So there is a very, very big emphasis here on what the parent responsibility is going to be. And I believe I'll cover that within the questions. So as we go through this, if there are, we had you submit questions ahead of time, but if there's a follow-up to anything I'm saying, you can type it in the chat. But let's try to get through the questions that were submitted ahead of time as was requested, so that we can, keep this to a timely fashion. So I'm just going to go down the list in the order that the questions were submitted to me. We'll begin. So first, there's a question about consideration for a hybrid start. There's no hybrid start. We are not going to go that route. It was not recommended by the Archdiocese, so there's not going to be. It is 5 days a week, full days. So there's no hybrid option. Somebody asked, what is the percentage of families that have already committed to virtual school? Well, we don't know that number because that form is going to be filled out on Friday. But when we did that survey to the community, there was about 20% of respondents that said that they would want to be virtual. Now, that number, that percentage might have changed as this changes with every week. So we'll know on Friday how many, what the percentage is of parents that want to choose that. And I do want to mention one other thing that was not on the questions. So after Walled Lake, and sorry, I'm bouncing around a little bit. After Walled Lake decided to go virtual, and nearly every public school decided to go virtual, and now they're protesting the private schools because we're not going virtual, which is all an interesting thing. We have been flooded with admissions requests. Now we want to make aware that we are testing the students. We are getting those records. I have had tours. I have had virtual tours in person, and we have declined some of the applicants, based on the standards that we hold to at St. Patrick. But within the last week, we have had 60 student applications. But I want you to know this. We have put out to those families that tomorrow is the last day for new student testing. So any of those persons that are not going to be able to test tomorrow will not be considered. We are not taking any further applications. And we are still adhering to capping our classrooms. because I feel like I'm in the shadows. That's better. So Mrs. Marchese and I went over the numbers yesterday. And for K through 4, we are not going to cap at 30. We're going to cap at 25. We have enough numbers to meet our budget, and we have the ability to say no. So in K through 4, we will not go over 25 students. Now that is not just 25 students in the classroom, that is 25 total, whether they're virtual or in person. Normally that cap would be 30, but we're going to stop at 25. In 5th grade, we're going to stop at 26 because right off the bat, we had 51 5th graders. So I'll only add one more out of the 7 applicants that are still left to keep that number even and keep that number low. In middle school, we were already at 60. We were already at capacity in 7th grade as soon as the year ended. So in 7th and 8th grade, we are capping at 30 because 7th grade is already at 30 and 8th grade was already at 27 and 28 even before new students joined or applied. And 6th grade was our low class. That was that recession year where there was a low number. And so right now those numbers are at 20 and 20 with 8 applicants. So that will stay under 25 as well. So aside from 7th and 8th grade and that one extra in 5th grade, we are stopping at 25, whether they're in person or virtual. That combination will stay at 25 instead of 30. We love to be able to add to our community, and everything is based on tuition. The teacher salaries is based on tuition. And I'm happy to know that we are able to give the teachers the raises that they deserve after all the hard work that they've been doing. And then the tuition pays for everything. It pays to keep the lights on, the books, everything else. But I am not here to push to fill up to 30. That's never been the case here. And that's why when Mrs. Marchese and I looked at the numbers that we were at and looked at the number of applicants, we made the decision that we're stopping at 25 and we're just gonna have to say no to some of those families. Okay, now back to the questions. Can middle school use their current backpacks? Yes. Middle schoolers are going to be able to use their backpacks. Middle school is going to a block schedule, and it's actually staggered so that when they do change classes, only one grade changes at the time of exchange. Now, middle school is going to go exchange classes because each of those teachers teaches one subject area, and their room is designed for that subject area. The rest of the school we are keeping into their classrooms, but middle school will exchange. But by going to a block schedule with the specials in between and staggering it, we have only one grade that will exchange at a time, which will make it cleaning the classroom in between far easier. So yes, they get to wear, and the middle school get to carry backpacks so that they don't have to go to their locker as much. So they'll have their morning books. And then when it's recess time, they can change out for their afternoon books and they carry their backpack with them. So yes. Will the morning monitors, who will be the morning monitors for taking kids' temperatures? Well, we do have our morning volunteers, but also the non-homeroom teachers will be out there as well, so that we have multiple persons taking the temperature of your children at the car before they get out, before you shove them out and try to drive off. If they do have that 100.4, we will allow for you to go around one more time. I actually got an email from a parent who works for a large company, and they do their temperature checks at the car. And what they found was, based on the time of the year, whether it was winter or summer, and how high the heat in the car was, or how high the air conditioning was going, that had an effect on their temperatures. So if they come through and they do hit that 100.4, you'll be able to go around again, maybe turn the heat down in your car if it's the winter time and it's been blasting in their face, or if you're somebody who likes to bundle your kid up with 3 coats and hats and gloves, that might have an effect on the temperature as well. So we want to make sure when you do come into the car line in the morning that you lower the heat or the air conditioning so that doesn't have an effect on the temperature of the child. Will an outside company be used for cleaning? Yes, the same company that we've always had, and they have been instructed on proper cleaning for the coronavirus as soon as it happened. So even during the springtime when we were out of the building, they were here. They were making sure that they were going through all the steps that they have to follow in preparation for kids coming back. So that outside company that comes in at night will still be cleaning the building, and they have their policies and procedures that they're following to make sure that we're cleaning for COVID. But remember, it doesn't matter how much we clean if the kids are not washing their hands, if they're not wearing masks in the areas that they're supposed to be doing, because that surface contact is less of an impact than it is if your hands are not clean or you are sneezing, coughing into the air as opposed to into your arm or, God forbid, into the mask. And again, we do have 2,000 donated masks. So if somebody does sneeze into their mask and needs to change that out, we have some for them. Is virtual school going to be an option each quarter? Yes. So if you are opting in for the virtual option during in-person, that is a quarterly commitment. So you will have that option each quarter. Now, if you opt for in-person, and let's say, a couple weeks go by or what have you, and you decide, you know what, I think I'm going to pull my student back home, we will allow anyone in person to go virtual, but then they will have to commit for that quarter. But you cannot hop from virtual to in person and back and forth throughout the quarter. So if you choose virtual, you are committed quarterly. But if you do choose in person and something changes, maybe your spouse or a grandparent or an aunt or uncle would be able to help with online learning. If that was a concern for you, you can then opt to go virtual for the remainder of the quarter. All right. What has been done to improve support virtual learning in the building and to support teachers? Okay, so we have upgraded the firewall and the server and multiple access points throughout the building, and we have tested to make sure that that is functioning appropriately. We have webcams for all of the teachers so that they can do recording of their lessons or live streaming. All of the staff was able to participate in a Google Classroom training through the Archdiocese of Detroit for free. Many of our staff have already tested into the first level of Google Classroom, and I know at least Ms. Skoranek has gone up to level 2 already, so she's there to help us as well. And then Mrs. Connolly has gone through the training also to help with Google Classroom. And then we have an IT company that is helping monitor our school system. So if anything goes down, we have people that we can call to help out. And as always, we'll be looking for professional development opportunities for the staff throughout the year. The Archdiocese has been very, very good about that. They have put out multiple classes on online learning, on mental health of the students. So there are new opportunities and classes for our staff to take that will help them throughout the year. And I already have spoken with my title funds provider through Walled Lake, and we did put that into that grant so that if there are any online classes opportunities, then the teachers will be able to take them for free. Will students be given mask breaks throughout the school day? There will be opportunities for breaks from their mask throughout the day. Teachers have been designating learning areas outside. Many of our teachers are excited about being able to take classes outside for some instruction. We have 2 whiteboards on wheels that if they want to take those outside with them, they are able. And we have some mats that the students can sit on the grass if they do go outside for learning. But we have instructed the teachers to make sure that they make time to give breaks, to take the kids outside, let them take the mask off and take a break. Remember that our staff has to wear masks throughout the day too, so aside from lunch, it's nice for us to get a breath of fresh air as well. Recess will have an area for a break from masks as well. Now, one thing with recess, even when they go outside for recess, all students will have to wear masks at recess if they are engaging in any activity. The Oakland County Health Department has stated that when you are engaging in the sports activity or physical activity, that social distancing goes from 6 feet to 10 feet. But what we're going to be doing at recess is kindergarten, first and foremost, they always have their own recess, but one class will go out at a time. And the kindergarten and preschool will be able to use the equipment, which will be sanitized after preschool uses it, and then it'll be sanitized after each kindergarten class uses it. First through eighth grade will not be running all over the play structure, at least for now. But what we're going to do with first through eighth grade is we are dividing that wonderfully large lawn that we have back there into 4 separate quadrants. Because if you stay within your classroom cohort, so if you're with your homeroom, you are able to share the equipment from that classroom. But then when they come in from recess, that equipment is cleaned and sanitized, following the Oakland County Health Department's requirements, and then the students will sanitize when they come in as well. So we have to keep them in their classroom cohorts as much as possible throughout the day, including during recess. We can't have all of 5th grade grouping up and playing together because they are in 2 separate cohorts. So there's going to be 4 different areas outside of recess for each classroom to be able to use their classroom equipment, and then those areas will be rotated as we go on throughout the year. But we will have an area outside for recess with hula hoops that will be 6 feet apart. So if they need to take a break or they want to just sit down and be able to talk to a friend at a safe social distance, then that will be a spot where they'll be able to take their masks off. But yes, for outdoor recess, they will have to wear masks if they are engaging in physical activity based on the Oakland County Health Department's requirements. If there is indoor recess, they will have to be staying in their seats, and we cannot have shared equipment within the classroom. So many of the teachers, and you're going to get information from your child's individual teacher on this, they have plans and things to make boxes for the individual students, for classroom materials, for materials to use during recess, to keep them as safe and healthy as possible. All right. So yes, there will be masks breaks. Now, with masks, it is required for middle school and staff to wear masks all day. It is also required, it is strongly recommended for K through 5 to wear them all day. Now, K through 5 is required to wear them in common areas. So in the hallways, or if they go into the computer lab, and for music, we're able to use the adult meeting room across from the preschool, which is like 3 rooms in one, to be able to space them out further. So that would be another example of a common area where they are required to wear masks. But those kids in K through 5 are strongly recommended to wear masks. Masks and hand washing are going to fight the spread of COVID far more than cleaning surfaces. And that comes from the Oakland County Health Department. Okay. The kids have already dealt with a lot since March. Will COVID be emphasized? No, we're not going to emphasize the coronavirus, but we will emphasize proper mask wearing. We will emphasize hand washing, making sure that they're doing it appropriately, hitting all the areas of their hands. There's going to be posters everywhere for 20 seconds or longer, which somebody said, well, that's like saying happy birthday twice, but let's go with the Our Father maybe. This is a Catholic school. So we will work on that with the kids, and also proper hygiene, the right way to sneeze or cough, into your arm or into a tissue as opposed to directly into your hand, or just letting it fly around the classroom. So we're not going to emphasize COVID. We will emphasize proper hygiene, which we really should be doing anyway. That is going to be the focus. We're not trying to make them more anxious or fearful. We want them to be calm, and we want them to be safe. So we are going to emphasize the proper hygiene elements of this. Next, there is a question about live streaming classes. Does this cause student privacy issues? Okay, so first, with live streaming, when that comes to that, live streaming, the webcams, when we do live streaming, so first of all, middle school is live streaming. And the online students will follow the daily schedule just as long as well as the in-person. So that will be live streamed, but those cameras will be focused on the board
Let's go.
and the teacher. Now, the elementary teachers are going to be recording their lessons and then posting them. And I'll get to some of that a little bit more as we go through the questions. But that will be focused as well as on the board and on the teacher. However, there is going to be documents that must be signed from the Archdiocese that we just received this week that for the teachers to sign, so they recognize what they are responsible for doing during any kind of live streaming recording, and for the parents to sign as well. But we are making an effort with the live streaming and with the recording of those lessons to not have any students visible, to have those webcams directly on the board and on the teacher. Okay. I think the ukulele, teaching the ukulele to middle school band students is a great idea. Thanks, that was Ms. Hepica. If our middle school student is interested, do we have to purchase one before school starts? No. We are purchasing a classroom set of those, and they will be cleaned between uses. Now, conversely, later in this document, somebody doesn't like the idea of ukuleles and they wish that we could have band. So do I. Removing band is a mandate that was passed down to us from the Archdiocese, which was passed down to us from the state of Michigan. We cannot have band, at least for the first semester, but we can see how everything goes. If we move into phase 5, things might change. But for right now, we cannot have band class. Now, what Ms. Hipica is going to be doing is looking to see if there are any students who have their band instruments who would want to meet in small groups in the mornings before school. Now, with that, the Oakland County Health Department said that if you are doing any kind of instruments like that, then the students need to be spread 10 feet apart. So we cannot have band class, but Mrs. Hipica wanted to have something for the middle school students, and we will have a set of class ukuleles that they can learn if they want to participate in that, at least temporarily. Obviously, as this thing moves and changes, as it has since March, things may change, and we might be able to open band back up. We hope so. So this was not a decision on me to get rid of band. This was something that was handed down from the Archdiocese and confirmed by the Oakland County Health Department. There's a private question that came in the group chat that will be answered as we go through this. So where are we? I see there's no band offered for 5th grade. Any chance that they could use the ukulele? For right now, Ms. Hipica wants to focus on the middle school band, but that's not to say that at the semester break that we can't open that up to the 5th grade. So unfortunately, 5th grade is not going to participate in that at this moment, but she wants to see the success that she has with the middle school and then see if we can open that up to the 5th grade later in the year. Okay, so there's a comment about drop-off in the morning. And there was a couple different drop-offs as well, questions. So drop-off will have multiple monitors. So we have the normal volunteers that'll be out there, and then all of the teachers who are not homeroom teachers will be out there doing temperature checks as well to keep that line moving and flowing like it normally would. There's been a couple of questions about parking and walking up. You can park in the church lot and walk your student up to a point. So we won't you're not going to come all the way up to the doors, but you can come up to the sidewalk where they're going to come to enter. But you must be masked, and you might be temperature checked by a teacher if you happen to pass them. So on the morning drop-off, if you still choose to get out of the car and walk your child up to the school building, you can do this, but you must be in a mask and you must have screened yourself before you come to school. and we will check you before you approach the building for your temperature. So that is something that you can still do. And there's a question about pickup later, so I'll wait till that question comes up and we'll talk about pickup. Okay, turn my page. Okay, have you thought about not being so strict on mask color? I like the laughter, thank you so much. All right, so I never thought that we would have to sit down as a staff and discuss the types of masks that students can wear. So we debated about this among the staff, and in considering this question and knowing that we are strongly recommending all students be in masks throughout the day, we're going to give you a chance. Now, because I've seen, like, now I'm not promoting Crayola, but Crayola has put out like a set of 5 masks in 5 different colors, and they're labeled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If your student, in trying to find the right fit, the right comfortability for your child, can find a mask that is a solid color, different than our uniform color, because let me tell you, those Crayola ones are really cute. Or maybe there's a slight pattern to it. They're not obnoxious. They're not blinged out. Okay, because I mean, really, do you have to bedazzle your face mask, people? We will give you an opportunity to have a school-appropriate face mask for the year. But if we have students who do not follow what would be school appropriate, like a tongue sticking out, which they shouldn't be doing if that was their normal tongue, or like a kitten, like I've seen everything, like a face mask that is like a bearded man. I'm not wearing a face mask, this is me. Or like a cat popping out of it, or like the Joker's smile, or like some kind of inappropriate small pictures that maybe we're not going to notice unless we look close enough. If you can have your kids choose a mask that is comfortable for them, that is appropriate, that makes them feel good and makes them happy, then do it. I know that many of our staff and parents have already gone out and bought those solid color masks. Now, as we wash these, we're not going to be able to wear just one mask, throughout the year. So we really do appreciate those who have been looking for those solid color masks of our uniform color. But as this question has come up more and more, we want you to be able to have the opportunity for your kids to pick something that fits them comfortably and, and makes them happy, especially now that we're saying, and, because there was a governor's executive order that says K through 5 students are strongly recommended as well. So in encouraging the youngest students to wear those masks too, we will open that up. But if there's anything inappropriate, that child is going to go to solid color. If there's any mask shaming, then that child is going to go to solid color. And I mean, please, can we encourage our students not to make fun of other people's masks? I really wish I didn't have to say that, but kids are kids. So if you can find a comfortable fitting one that is subtle and appropriate, go for it. All right. Now that we got that one out of the way, have you given any thought to the first few weeks being casual dress? No. We are starting with uniforms from the first day of school. I'm sorry. We are going we are using uniforms. There was a question also about middle school ties. Now that goes into mass as well. Mass, we will not be attending mass physically. They will be live streaming all of our school masses, and they'll be streamed into the classrooms. So middle schoolers, you will not be required to wear a tie on Fridays, but you're more than welcome to. And boys in middle school, or I mean, they can wear their ties any day of the week if they want to, but we're not going to require that on Mass days. Masses, at least for the time being, unless something changes that allows us to go into the church with a larger number, will be live streamed into the classrooms. And they'll be live streamed on the St. Pat's Parish Facebook website, and I believe on our Facebook page. So parents, you will be able to attend Mass virtually as well, but we are going to live stream the Mass for the time being into the classrooms. Okay. So questions about the structure of virtual during in-person. So the whole purpose of offering a virtual option is because we heard the community, and we surveyed the community and asked who would want an in-person and who would want virtual. And at that time, about 20% of the parents said that they would want to have a virtual option. Now, please recognize that the virtual option during in-person is not a virtual academy. And it will be different than if we all go totally virtual. So this is not like your Michigan Virtual Academy. This is something that we're offering while we're doing the in-person education, because some of our parents said they wanted an option just to be able to still be a part of the school, even though they were uncomfortable with in-person. So in a nutshell, and you're going to get more information from your teachers, but K through 2, for their virtual, there will be weekly pickups for physical materials. In 3 through 5, you might have some times where they might have something that they need to be picked up to bring home and do it at school. And somebody asked this question, if it's virtual, why is there physical materials? Well, part of the content standards, especially for our K through 2 students, involves fine motor skills and handwriting and actual using pencil and paper. So there will be weekly pickups for kindergarten through 2nd grade every Monday and Tuesday from 8:30 to 3:30. And you'll get this information from your teachers as well. And the teachers are going to outline those specifics. 3 through 5 will have some times where you might need to pick up materials based on what project they could be doing. And K through 5, what they're going to be doing is recording their lessons and posting those that evening for the next day. So in the Return to Learn plan, it outlines some of this information. So, middle school is live streamed, okay, from their classrooms during the day. So if you are virtual during in-person in the middle school, you will follow the middle school schedule as the teachers will be live streaming their lessons. Sorry, it was time for medication. And this is water, by the way. I know it's a red Solo cup, but that is water. I'll have the when I get home. The reason why the kindergarten through 5th grade wants to record those lessons and then post them the next day is because if we say math is from 9 to 9:30 and English from 9:30 to 10, what if there's a math lesson that takes a little bit longer to explain? We want to make sure that we have those lessons for the virtual students in completion, because we wouldn't want them to log in at 9:30 and still see math when they're supposed to be seeing English. So the K through 5 will be recording and posting those. But as the teachers get more comfortable with this, as the students get more comfortable with it, as we go through the year, there might be some opportunities for additional live streaming, maybe during lunch, to have those virtual students to be able to be a part of class that way. They might open it up to live streaming a class discussion. But for right now, K through 5 will be recording their lessons and posting those so that the virtual students will actually be doing that work the next day. Electives are going to be providing assignments for the week, depending on grade level and what the assignments are. And again, next week, and I'll get into some of the Meet the Teachers next week. I'm going to talk about that later. But next week, you will get more information from your specific teacher as to how those plans are going to go. There will be daily logins on Google Classroom. And once we have the confirmed numbers, that's where we're going to put out more information next week. So every class is going to have a Google Classroom, whether in person or virtual, especially because let's say your child is sick, maybe whether it's a cold or COVID and they need to stay home, they will still be able to access that information. Or maybe during that day, they get home, they're trying to do their homework, they forgot part of that lesson's recorded, and it's going to be posted so that it'll be there for them at home too. And then middle school, when they're doing their live streaming, they'll record those and be able to post those as well so that anyone can go back to it and see it if they need to. But we will be having some virtual Meet the Teacher nights, and I have those notes later in this packet, and so I'll get to that. So we'll have a lot more information as far as that goes. But the structure for that is you will see weekly lesson plans posted at the beginning of the week from the teachers. There might be, and then there's going to be daily postings of the lesson presentations and any adjustments that might happen. If we have a fire drill and the math lesson gets postponed, then you would see that updated on the Google Classroom that day. So you'll get the weekly lesson plans, you'll get daily updates and daily video postings from the teachers if you're K through 5, and middle school will be live. And then in addition to that, the outline is in the Return to Learn plan. Somebody asked, are there any teacher changes? No. Except for phys ed, we are still conducting interviews for that position. Okay. Let's see. Are we able to switch from home virtual learning to in-person during the quarter? No, you have to wait till the quarter's end. Will kids at home have access to Friday morning mass? Yes, they will, because that will be shared on the Facebook page and on the parish website. So and parents, not just the students, but you will have access to our school masses as well. Okay, if we do choose in person, will there be a set meet and greet so the students are more comfortable with the teachers? So this information in specific will be sent out Thursday or Friday. We're going to have the detailed information for this. But next week, on Tuesday and Wednesday, and again, you're going to get this in writing, we are going to have a supply drop-off and book pickup next week on Tuesday and Wednesday during the day. Because the question was with the EduKits, or if you have your paper towels, you have your hand sanitizer, your boxes of Kleenex, you have your wipes, to have a kid bringing all that into the building themselves might be a chore. But we also want you to be able to come in next week ahead of your children coming into the building too. So there will be supply drop-off and picking up of books for the online students next Tuesday and Wednesday during the day. And then also next week, there will be, the teachers are putting together information, pictures of their classrooms, videos of their classrooms that will all be sent next week on Tuesday. So ahead of our Wednesday and Thursday evening Meet the Teacher nights that will be virtual next week, Wednesday will be elementary school and Thursday will be middle school. Both of those will start at 6 o'clock. And again, you're going to get this in writing. The teachers will send information and all of what they're going to be doing in their classes to you on Tuesday, so that on Wednesday, when you log into the Zooms for those teachers, you will already have the information, and then it can become a Q&A and just a discussion with the teachers. So they're going to have pictures of their classrooms, they're going to have their weekly plans, they're going to have their information for virtual, they're going to have their information for in person. All of that will be given to you on Tuesday, so that for Wednesday and Thursday, you will already have the packets, you will already have the information, and then you can have the Q&A kind of like what we're doing right now with the teachers on Wednesday and Thursday. And that information will be in print for you by the end of the week. Okay. Text from plan. Masks will be required during recess due to difficulty in hearing social distance during play. So again, during outdoor recess, if they are playing, they do have to wear masks. Now for gym will be outside as well. Physical education, because of the government mandate that gyms cannot be open, they took that as school gymnasiums as well. So we cannot have physical education class in the gym right now. But again, as if you've ridden this wave with me since March, there's been changes all throughout. So for right now, physical education will be outside. And so K through 8, when it's their gym day, they can wear their gym uniform the whole day. They're not going to, because we don't want them going into the bathroom in a large group or locker room and changing. So K through 8 will wear their gym uniform the whole day. There was also a question about new gym shoes. Since we won't be in the gym, you don't need to have new gym shoes, but you might want to have a pair of gym shoes aside from your daily school shoes that they wear on gym day. So it doesn't have to be a new gym shoe that is in the locker that stays there for the gymnasium, because they will be having gym class outside. So maybe that's the chance that they can wear their high tops or their brightly colored shoes and what have you. Now, if there's inclement weather or it gets too cold that we can't be outside, the gym teacher, once we've chosen one, I have like 10 applicants through Share Time that we're going to be interviewing early next week. They will go to the classroom and do a health lesson or some other kind of instruction in inclement weather temporarily. So remember, with all of this, everything can change. So if the state of Michigan continues to do what they're supposed to be doing and mask up, as the governor has said, we could very well get to a point within the year where we can have gym class inside. We can have a little bit more freedom. So for right now, gym class will be outside. If there's inclement weather, that teacher will go to the classrooms and there will be a health lesson that will be taught to the kids. Okay. Students who are sick will be sent home or to a healthcare facility depending on how severe their symptoms are. Somebody just wanted to confirm that we're not going to send your kids to a healthcare facility without parental consent. Of course. We're not going to ship your kid off to a hospital without contacting you first and getting your consent. You will be contacted. We're not just going to send somebody away from the building without the parents' knowledge or without the parents' consent. If the virtual option at first, we already answered this. Again, the virtual option is quarterly. You cannot bounce back and forth. And I already can cover that one. I've never used Google Classroom before. Will there be instructions provided beforehand? Well, first, yes. The teachers are going to provide some how-to instructions in their packets to you. And with that, also, Google is your friend. If you just type into Google, how-tos Google Classroom or Google Classroom tutorial, you can find some videos that will walk you through that, but the teachers will help you with that as well in their information packets. And then when there's the virtual Meet the Teacher nights next night. So I think 3 people mentioned advanced math. Yes, there's going to be advanced math. And as far as the quarter end dates, we will be posting them tomorrow, but it would be October 30th is the end of the first quarter, and we'll get you those other dates updated on SchoolSpeak promptly. But for the first quarter, October 30th is the end of the first quarter. All right. Okay. All right. I answered that one. We answered that one. Okay. If I choose virtual, will I need to invest in a printer? Or will assignments be available for pickup? Assignments will be available for pickup, but it's always good to have a printer in your house. And you can get one fairly cheap on Amazon. But no, there will be pickups. for the different classes. Okay. Virtual learners. Okay, so the typical day of a virtual learning, we kind of touched on that, and then you're going to get that information from the teachers. Again, Friday, the state's top medical official recommended all students, including K through 5, wear a mask while attending class in person. Yes, we strongly recommend that, and that's also why we're opening up that mask color requirement. The RTL's plan states the desks will be spaced as far apart as feasible. Is there more specific measurement as far as spacing the kids? Well, we cannot space them 6 feet apart. On average, as I went through after this question and measured, from child to child is on average 3 feet. But depending on the number of students who choose virtual, we might be able to space them further. But right now, on average in the classrooms, the way that they're set up currently, knowing that we are going to be stopping at 25 specifically, they are currently 3 feet apart, and they're all facing in one direction. So nobody's facing each other. Now the kindergarten tables, they do have the tables that they sit on, and we've ordered plexiglass partitions for those tables. So in kindergarten, there will be partitions in between the kindergartners so that they can sit across from somebody, but there's that guard in case anybody forgets how to cover their sneeze. My mom's a first grade teacher. She always said, catch it like a superhero. Just pull your cape around like Batman. But no, so the kindergarten has plexiglass dividers, and we have dividers that are coming in for the computer lab as well. And I believe for the science lab in middle school. Preschool drop-up and pickup is not in the classroom. And Miss Leslie, so if anyone else has some preschool questions, Miss Leslie follows it's a state certified childcare. So she has her own packet of information to give to all the preschool families regarding drop-off and pickup, all of her procedures as well. So for specific preschool questions, you can, if you have a burning question, you can email Miss Leslie. Her information is on her website, but she will be giving you that information. If she hasn't sent it already, it will be coming very soon. She is on top of her game. Speaking of state licensed childcare, what are the hours of Celtic? How can we find out more information? What safety measures will be in place involving that program? Okay, so Mrs. Gillis does follow the LARA protocols, so she's state licensed, and she and I have discussed social distancing and other items, and she was going to cover that at the Meet the Teacher next week as well. She'll be available for some of those questions, but in short, so Celtic is going to be in the library, and that's why we've moved the bookcases to create a larger space on the inside of the library. I know that I'm doing this as if you can see, but they will be spaced out throughout the library based on their classroom cohorts. So because we have to keep them with the students that they're with throughout the day, we have to space them out individually. She has a plan for where they're going to set their backpacks and book bags down in the hallway. Those are going to be spaced out as well. So they'll be social distanced, and she has more information as far as snacks, how that's going to work, and you know, providing some games or materials for your individual children as well. So that is coming out next week, and she will be available for many of those questions. And kids for requiring wearing masks at Celtic team. Again, Ms. Gillis has all of that information. My short answer is yes, but that also depends on the classroom cohorts. We will be putting out class lists on Monday after we receive the confirmations on Friday as to who's going virtual and who's going in person. So you will know every student that's in your child's class, whether they're in virtual or in person, and that will come out on Monday after everyone confirms on Friday. So whether they're there or not, you will know the students in their class. Okay, next page. Another question about the cost for ukuleles. Nope, we paid for those for you, and um, they will be cleaning those. And you know, if you are renting an instrument, again, Mrs. Hippiga is trying to work out an opportunity to have small group band, but they have to be spaced 10 feet apart. So she's trying to work through that right now, and she'll give you more information as well. Will middle school students need to bring a Chromebook or device to school, or is that just virtual learning? Middle school are going to bring their devices to in-person learning as well. Because they can use those devices, especially for word processing, for research. Previously, we have a laptop cart that was going into the classrooms, but we can't do that. So the middle school students will have the device that's coming with them every day if they're in person and virtual. How will dismissal work? How will dismissal work if you are in a carpool with multiple families? Okay, so with dismissal, and we're ironing out the finer details of this, and they will have that information to you, you know, early next week. So what we're going to, it's something that we were working on last year, even before COVID. And I know that there's questions in the chat. I really got to get through this paper before I can scroll through those. So dismissal, you will be given during that supply drop-off and book pickup those days a card with your family name on it, and we're giving 2 per family, so that if you are in a carpool, you would give your other sign to the person that would be picking up your children. So when you pull through the dismissal line, we are going to be dismissing by the families in those cars. And this was something that the White Lake Police Department had recommended. It's something that Dublin grade school has implemented themselves, where we will have the students will remain in their classrooms with their teachers, and then we're going to have teachers posted outside, and we're going to check the names on the cars as they pull up, and then they're going to radio that into me over the PA. We will announce the names so that we can have a staggered release of students, so they're social distance, but also so they're safe. You know, there was a lot of comments about, you know, it being chaotic at the end of the day, and I agree. And this is something that we were working on with the White Lake Police Department even before we had to leave in March. So we have that planned out to be able to keep that moving freely. Now, will this take maybe a little bit longer the first couple of times? Yes, but Dublin is able to do this within 15 minutes, which is usually the amount of time it takes for us to get through our car line. So we have a plan that we're putting in place. We're going to have a map, and you know, we'll get that information out to you. If you need more than 2 signs, we'll figure that out for you later. But the idea is that as you pull up, we would know which car that is, what families go into that car. But we radioed in, over the PA. Those students will come out in those groups to be able to be escorted by the teachers that'll be along the sidewalk to make sure that they're kept safe on their way to your car, and they'll be able to get in there. So it's going to be a safe process. There might be a learning curve that first week, but the other schools that have done this have said that after the first learning curve, it moves very fast. So we'll be good with that. Celtic team information is coming out early next week, but my short answer again for Celtic team is yes for masks. Will parents be able to do any kind of pictures or anything outside for the first day of school? If you want to do that outside of the school, then yeah, absolutely. But you're not going to be able to come in and take those pictures. But if you're doing that outside, you want to take a picture with your student, please maintain safe social distancing and wear a mask. Obviously, if you want to pull that down so you can see their smiling face and put that back up, just make sure if you're doing pictures outside, that's the way to do that. So for kindergarten, kindergarten will also be a part of that pickup. Now, kindergartners are going to be able to just come right out of their classroom doors And again, we will have teachers along the sidewalks to ensure that the students are moving safely down to their car. So, as far as a staggered start or a staggered release, doing the way that we're doing it at dismissal, they will be staggered. And then in the morning, they're not going to be congregating outside. As we check your temperature, as we open the car doors, they're going to be entering into the building. That way they can be socially distanced as they move through the hallways and into their classrooms, into their seats. So it's not staggered time, but the way that we're doing it is going to space those kids out at a safe distance. But again, if you want to take pictures or anything outside the first day of school, by all means, please do. I do that with my son at the house and in front of his church. And there's a lovely statue of St. Patrick at the church, so you could always do your photo out there or like right on the sidewalk in front of our school. For kindergarten, will they have gym 2 days a week still? Yes, but they're going to follow that protocol of being outside. Is the COVID health screening acknowledgement form a one-time document we sign, or is this daily sheet we need to turn in for each child? Okay, so there is the screening checklist that is in that packet is for you to do every day with your child. You are responsible for screening your child, taking their temperature, making sure you're asking them those questions about how they're feeling and everything before you even get into the car line. No longer is this a case of, well, here, take some Tylenol so we can lower that fever and you can go to school because, you know, I need to go to work. We need to make sure that our kids are being screened at home. So the screening checklist is for you to use with your child every day. And then there is a screening agreement and family responsibility form that is signed once and turned in before school. So that will be dropped off during the drop-off next week. And again, Mrs. Marchese is going to be sending out emailed with documents describing all that I'm saying now. If a child is sick at home, can they watch the virtual school? Absolutely. That's the other purpose of having the virtual option during in-person. Okay, answer that one, answer that one, answer that one. Somebody asked, why is there a need to pick up materials if this is a virtual school? Again, this is not a virtual academy. This is a virtual option during in-person learning. And in the content standards, especially for our youngest students, fine motor skills and penmanship and cutting, using materials are all a part of those standards. So, you know, depending on the grade and as the grade level goes up, as the grade level gets higher, there is going to be more virtual and less of the physical materials, but we will be still having physical pickup. It says lessons will be recorded. If this is the case, how does the student ask question during the lesson? Well, the in-person students, so the teachers are recording their lesson presentation. So they're going to explain the topic or the item that they're discussing with their in-person students, stop the recording, and then they'll be working with the students in person. Some of the teachers have actually said that they're going to record some of their lessons even ahead of time so that the people at home can see them without their masks. So the in-person students will still be able to ask questions, but now for virtual students, okay, so there is going to be a weekly check-in with your teacher that is available, and the teachers will have that information for you. But also Ms. Lewis has in her schedule, every single day she has in her schedule time to work with our online students. So Ms. Lewis will be the point person for children at home that might have questions beyond what those lesson presentations are. And that information, again, we're going to have the way that she's going to be doing that. She has access to all of the Google Classrooms. She has the ability of starting a Google Meet with any students who might have questions. So Ms. Lewis is going to be the point person throughout the week for virtual students to be able to ask questions beyond what the lesson presentations describe. How will they be assessed? Will there be virtual assessments? In some cases, there will be assessments done virtually. Google Classroom has that ability of doing that. In others, especially with middle school, we're discussing this, there might be time where if you are a virtual student, depending on the importance of the assessment and the way that the assessment needs to be taken, that you may need to schedule a time to come in to take that assessment in person. And that's a might, and that's mostly going to be for our upper students. But that's why we're keeping the library open and tables socially distant. So if there is any assessments that need to be taken in person, then the teachers will work out a schedule with you. Specifically for those who have been asking about advanced math, and again, this information is going to be typed up and presented to you very soon, within the next 2 days, or at least by Monday in the teachers' presentations that they're going to be giving out to you. So we are going to be assessing students in middle school for advanced math. So the virtual students are going to have to take that assessment in person as well. The teachers are I already spoke with Ms. Gisha and Ms. Shields, and they are working out a schedule to be able to give to you by Tuesday, when all of the teachers will be putting out their class information packets to you. So you will get more information on the advanced math testing by Tuesday, and then you'll be able to ask those questions on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the teacher's Zoom. As far as, so people have asked a couple times about the devices. So a Chromebook or a laptop, every day is for middle school. Middle school will have their devices every day. And I understand that there's some workings with the Parents Club for that. But then 5th grade has said that they might have days that they require the students to bring in devices because it's easier than sharing that laptop card again. But they would let you know far ahead of time. But yet middle school students will be required to have a device with them daily. And a question about ELA enrichment. For the time being, we are not going to have the ELA enrichment because Mrs. Connolly, again, anytime you pull a student out of a classroom into another classroom, that creates a chance for cross contamination. So for the time being, ELA enrichment is postponed, but then we'll give you more information if we're able to open that up. Also, Mrs. Connolly is going to have time in her schedule to be able to answer Google Classroom, any questions for Google Classroom or tech questions. She'll be available for that. If students go back in person after any quarter, how will they be accommodated in the classroom? Is there enough space? Yes, we're capping at 25 virtual and in person. So we're not saying 25 in the classroom and then however many online. We are going to keep it at 25, whether they're in person or virtual, so that if they do come back after the quarter, there will be space for them in face-to-face instruction. And then we would put out for you to be able to let us know before the end of the quarter if you plan on returning to in-person. Now somebody asked why St. Pat's or the AOD did not offer a total virtual academy option, because that's an additional cost. And what we're doing with the virtual during in-person is to provide something for our families to be able to still be a part of our community. And that is very different from if we go to completely virtual. And that was outlined in the Return to Learn plan. Now, if we do go completely virtual, if we go back to phase 3, then we will put out even more information as to what that's going to look like if that time comes. I'm hoping very much that we will not go to a phase 3, that we will not have to go to complete virtual learning. But that is also why those webcams are there. If we do go to virtual learning, we are going to keep it as close to in-person education as possible. The teachers will come into their classrooms and they will teach the lessons live from their classrooms. So if we go completely virtual, then that's when we're talking more of a virtual academy, where those teachers are teaching directly to all of the students online. And then again, if anyone misses a day or if they have to be home for a couple of days, every student has access in person or virtual to those Google Classrooms. So that is available to all students. Somebody said that they found a neck gaiter with a filter. is that an option for them? Again, with the gaiters that come up from the neck, they tend to slide down, which means that they're touching their face more and more. And we want to use the face masks because they hook around the ears or they hook around the head, and it prevents the students from touching their face too much. So the neck gaiters, we're not encouraging those, because even if they have a filter in them, those tend to slide, and then you have the children adjusting them. If you watched the 8th grade graduation, I was wearing one before I was fully informed, and I had to keep moving mine up and down myself. Okay. Can my 4th grader wear a mask even though it's not mandatory? Yes. I'll get back to the Chromebooks. All right, and then there was a whole list of questions about what if they have a cold, but it's symptoms. Okay, so in the Return to Learn document, there are scenarios. There is the Oakland County Health Department requirements. So everything outlined with if somebody has, in person, if somebody has symptoms, what happens if that happens? What if somebody tests positive? Who would be quarantined if they're next to them? Is it going to be the whole classroom? Is it going to be close contact? All of that is outlined in the Return to Learn plan. So please refer back to that for those scenarios. And then if you have further questions, I'm not, if I answer these questions, I'm going to read directly from the document. So for the questions about cleaning and sanitizing, contact tracing, the processes for cleaning rooms, all of that is in the Return to Learn document, and it's also found on the Oakland County Health Department website, which I just put into the chat again. That has cleaning, that has hygiene, that has the cleaning products that we're using. We are following all of their requirements. I have met with the Oakland County Health Department multiple times in putting this plan together. And I have somebody who is able to be contacted at any time. So all of the questions that I have about close contact, about who would be quarantined, about siblings, about people in the household, all of that is outlined in the Return to Learn plan. And it's also available on the Oakland County Health Department website. Some of our document was actually copied and pasted. Don't tell them, but literally everything that outlines those scenarios and who would be tested and what the processes are, that is directly from the Oakland County Health Department, and that is what we follow. So if you didn't see it in the Return to Learn plan, again, oakland.gov health pages for schools is where you can look. Okay, so that is those questions. So let me go start scrolling. And we're going to go for another 10 minutes here. If we slip into phase 3, will the live virtual be all day K through 5, or will continue to be pre-recorded videos? That will be live. We will follow our actual school day, because if we do slip back into phase 3, we believe that that won't be permanent. So we don't want your children to get in the habit, or myself or the teachers, to be honest, of sleeping in and losing that time frame. So if we go full virtual, the teachers will be in their classrooms teaching, and you will have the schedule, you will have the daily schedule, and more detailed information would come out at that time. I didn't want to inundate you with the very specific details of a full virtual, because God willing, we're not going to get there. After school extracurricular activities, those are all canceled. And if you're, sports and everything, you need to talk to the parish. As far as our after school, I saw Priscilla just wigged out for a second. Our after school programs, the clubs and things, we're not going to be having those, but everything for sports goes through SPA, that is a parish program. And they are the ones that run that program. I don't have all those details. So if you have any questions regarding sports and those extracurriculars, you can go to the parish website and there is a link for SPA. So as far as Chromebooks, there was a survey that went out to see who had them, who was able to have them. And for those who do not have the ability, there is a plan in place for that. Does Parents Club, do you want to comment on that at all? As far as the Chromebooks, or were those details put out in the email? And any device that runs Google Classroom is okay. So if you have a Windows laptop that runs Google Classroom, I was never a Mac person. I'm assuming an Apple product can run Google Classroom, but I never got into to Apple. But as far as iPads, you know, especially when you get into the middle school, when they're actually going to need keyboards to be typing and doing document processing, iPads does make it difficult. So when we're talking about Chromebooks, we need you to have a device in middle school specifically that Google Classroom functions on. I have a laptop that runs Windows and it runs Google Classroom. So it does not necessarily have to be a Chromebook, but it does have to be able to run Google Classroom on it. What is the plan for TK if we move into phase 3? The same as the rest of the school. And then preschool, as far as phase 3 for preschool, Miss Leslie, she would be the one that has all of that plan and planning in place. She came to me and said, I got this. If you get any questions about preschool, please direct them to me. I can answer those questions. And she is the guru when it comes to that. And SPA is still waiting for instructions from the Michigan High School Athletic Association for more information. When doing virtual, do the children need to be in uniforms? They don't, but hey, why not? But I would recommend, okay, so this is a recommendation for virtual. Have a place in your home that is specifically for school. Now, not only does this discourage them from laying on their bed and playing on their phone while they're on, studies have found that if you have a place set in your home for school, that does help with the emotional impact on the students. Because, and I saw this in my own son, you know, at the time when we were doing virtual online during the spring, we had a table set up in his playroom. And we had our Legos over here, and we had Nerf guns over here, and he just was not focused. So if you are doing virtual, I do recommend having a set place in your home, or even just a desk where that student will go to for school. Okay, we answered that. ELA students lessons. As far as the ELA enrichment, again, as of right now, for the start of the school at minimum, so we can get this ball rolling and Mrs. Connolly can be there to help with technology questions, we're just postponing the ELA enrichment. I'm not saying that that's gone for the whole year or even the whole quarter, but for the time being, ELA enrichment is on hold. Mrs. K, reading specialist, will be available in person. Oh, she is. Yes, Mrs. K is here. She's actually going to be right back there. She has a table and chairs to set up for social distancing. And then Miss Lewis, that's her corner over there. We actually moved the table out of the advanced math room for Miss Lewis to use, and then put desks to be able to distance in the advanced math classroom. So Mrs. K is going to be available. Will kids share supplies in the classrooms? No, they're not going to be sharing supplies. But the teachers have already, especially in the younger grades, been creating manipulative packages for each individual student. And as far as what they need for you to have for their supplies will come out on Tuesday. So Your individual teachers will have information for you regarding all of those questions about supplies, in-person versus virtual, what the day looks like, how they're going to approach that on Tuesday. And then we have the Meet the Teacher evenings on Wednesday and Thursday, and more information on that will come from Mrs. Marchese within the next couple of days. Due to limited parent access, have you looked into required volunteer? Okay, we are waiving the required volunteer hours this year. We're not going to that because we are not able to. For anyone with speech therapy, I have not had a chance yet to meet with the Walled Lake providers, but they do. It's my understanding that they will still be available to us, but I have not had the chance to talk to Sherry Lewandowski as far as that goes yet. Someone said no more snow days. Well, you know, I think that was actually something that's being passed around in the Michigan legislature right now. Just so you know, we like snow days too. So we'll see how that goes. Again, questions about if they're homesick, can they use the virtual option? Yes, everyone will have their own access to the Google Classrooms, and that information will be given out to all of the families Tuesday next week. Safe process. If we have an outbreak in our school, is there a protocol from the Oakland County Health Department whether the school will be closed for a period of time? Okay, so this is the reason why we keep them in their classrooms. We want to keep them cohorted as much as possible to be able to contain them, so that if there is somebody that tests positive, that it is contained within that classroom and with close contact. And if anything happens, we communicate with Oakland County. They look at every case individually and give us our protocols based on that. Now, the specifics are in the Return to Learn plan and on that website that I linked a few times. But God forbid they're following the protocols and policies that we were given from the Oakland County Health Department. They have put a stamp of approval on our plan that we would be able to contain it. But again, we have to remember that this is on the parents. More importantly than anything we're doing here is checking your child every single morning, asking those questions. If they're running hot, keep them at home. If they're not feeling well, you have to keep them at home, because if you're not monitoring them, if you're not screening them every single day and you send them to school and you know that they're not feeling well, then that causes an issue. Now, granted, they might become, not feeling well during the day, and if that happens, those protocols are in that plan. If we return to phase 3, would there be an opt-out option if someone chooses homeschool and not to do virtual? There is no, there will not be a refund if you choose to opt out of the online program. Block schedules in middle school, it is 4 days a week, and then on Friday, it will follow the normal 45-minute class period on Fridays for middle school. Let me scroll back down. Oh, I'm at 7:30, so we're going to wrap this up soon. Where do we go? Kids, how will they receive the Eucharist? At Sunday Mass. Unfortunately, we will not be able to have the Eucharist given to all of the classes during our school masses. And this is a temporary thing, but that is why, Father, especially Father John Peter, used to tell them every single Friday, this does not count as your Sunday obligation. You still need to go to Mass on Sunday. So to receive the Eucharist, you still go to Mass on Sunday as a family. I got a message here that Michigan High School Athletic Association is putting out their plan tomorrow. Thank you, Ms. Fresquez. Now, Mrs. K even answered that Mrs. K will be available and working with students in a similar way that we did last year. Thanks for being here, Mrs. K. Max can run all Google. Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Erickson. I'm sorry I was ignorant to IMAX. If they have a keyboard for the iPad, well, you got Ms. Davies. You have the keyboard. I believe that should work. I have not tried Google Classroom myself on an iPad, so give it a test. Let me mute.
Sorry, Chris, Tyler was thumbs up. I think it sounds like iPads work is what she's saying. She's
Okay,
giving a
iPads
thumbs
work.
up. So, sorry.
So Chromebooks are being handled by the school advisory committee.
Yeah.
Mrs. Fontes has put out information as far as that goes. Is
Yeah,
Mrs.
Marchese, Lynn
Lynn
Marchese
already
sent
out. We sent out the survey. We sent out how many are, how many are the totals that we potentially are looking for, the borrow piece of things, if there's a stipulation there. All of that information has already been sent out and communicated, and we're looking into the second part of it, which is the acquisition component of the Chromebook.
Okay, thank you. And I apologize for me, losing that in my clarity for a moment with the 6 pages of questions I was focusing on. So there was a letter that went out outlining the Chromebooks and the protocol that went with it. And so we surveyed the families to see who had them and who would need help with that. We have the totals, and now we are just looking at acquiring those Chromebooks to help any families that might not have been able to provide that. Will the in-person lower elementary students have an opportunity to work with Google Classroom? Yes, in-person will have an opportunity to work with Google Classroom so that they're familiar with it. Yes, you do need a gym uniform, and they will be wearing those gym uniforms on gym days. And so I have a question as far as the athletic shorts. So in our uniform policy, in the first and fourth quarters, we do allow shorts for the uniforms, and then we also allow them for the gym uniforms. But there are the gym pants that go along with the gym uniform that those would be worn during the school day. Somebody asked about Sherry Lewandowski. It is my understanding that Sherry Lewandowski will still be attending our school. I just have not had a chance to meet with her. She's been working with the things that Walled Lake are doing, and then she's going to touch base with the private schools. Seasonal allergies, so when we're talking about seasonal allergies, you may be required to have a doctor's note because I understand that many things show up are the same symptoms as coronavirus because there's actually different versions of the coronavirus. When we're talking about COVID-19, so if there are seasonal allergies, we may ask for a doctor's note, but we will follow the Oakland County Health Department's protocol with that. And I believe in that link and also in the Return to Learn plan, there is an email address that for the Oakland County Health Department that they could give you detailed answers as far as those protocols. Lunch duty, as far as lunch duty, the recommendation is to have a set group of lunch duty personnel that would be screened daily and have your temperatures checked daily. So we will still be needing lunch duty volunteers. That, and we'll put out that information as we normally do next week about anyone who wants to volunteer and what the protocols are going to be for lunch duty supervision. Can K through 5 bring reusable lunch boxes or should it be disposable? Disposable is going to be best. But if they're and now this might be coming out from the teachers as to where they're going to store that. From my understanding is the lockers are going to be used for your lunchbox and your outdoor wear. And then all of their other materials are going to be in their backpacks that they're going to have on the backs of their chairs. So that would be so that will be coming out from the teachers. For as far as mass, the kids are not going to be doing the readings. They are all going to be staying within the classrooms, and that's a temporary thing. As far as, again, with allergies, you would most likely have to have a doctor's note. But if they have a cold, if they have symptoms, then in the guide, it does say that the processes that you would have if a student has symptoms that are related to coronavirus. Okay. So it's not clear class option. All right, we might have to put out another survey then as far as the computers for in class. So let me follow up with that. How will gym work for virtual students? I would imagine seeing some workout options and videos, but as far as what the gym teacher will do, I'll let you know as soon as I interview and hire the gym teacher. That's going to be through our Share Time program, and they have already sent me 10 different applicants that we're going to take care of early next week. Yeah, on gym day, you wear your gym clothes, not your uniform. Electives for virtual. Now, I know Spanish is planning on recording hers. Now, with the different electives, that's going to be based on what projects they're going to be doing. So that's going to be a weekly thing that the elective teachers would put out. Yes, so for virtual students, for the first day of school, we'll have that information for you next week. You know, that was one area that wasn't fully discussed with the staff, but that's where we need to have a follow-up with them as to how we can work out virtual for K-5 for the first day of school. So let me get with my teachers on that, but that also very well could be coming out in their individual packets because the teachers have been working extremely hard together in their groupings and putting together those plans so that I wouldn't have to. But they are the professionals and they have these items outlined, and I haven't seen what they're presenting yet, but I would understand that they would have all that information for you. Will parents receive a copy of these Q&As? This has been recorded, so we'll post that recording. Middle school gets to wear their gym uniforms the whole day. First day of school for virtual will be the first day. I'll get back to you on the first day of school once I talk to the individual students. Will uniforms be required for virtual students? You know, that's your preference. I know that if I'm sitting in my PJs, I'm probably not going to be as focused as I should be. And you know, God bless you if you require your child to be in their uniform virtually. Ms. Kassab. So I wasn't going to say you must be in a uniform in virtual, especially because we wouldn't be able to necessarily see that all those students would be in their uniforms. But you know what, if you want your daughter to question your choices, go ahead and put her in her uniform. I'm sure, and knowing that lovely young lady, she probably might even opt to be in her uniform just to be a part of the class. Thank you all for being a part of this. I hope that many of your questions were answered and you have a little bit more detail. And if you do have further questions, you're going to see a I'm out of the office message from me Thursday and Friday, because I have not taken a vacation since last summer, and I am taking Thursday and Friday off. And so I'm not answering my phone. But Mrs. Marchese said, send them to me. She said, we can do this. So the teachers are going to be around helping Mrs. Marchese, but I will be back in the office on Monday. But I need a couple days, to be honest with you. So Mrs. Marchese will be available. If you have individual questions for the grade level teachers, please email them, because they will be able to answer those questions. They have been ready, they're willing, and all of the emails are available on our school website. So if there are any questions that I did not answer that would be specific to those first grade, whatever grade level teachers, email them. They're open and ready to help out and answer those questions further. And you know, we'll do our best as far as the persons that made a comment about the Chromebooks being used daily. I'll talk to the SAC and see what we can do about finding out a little bit more from you. If there is anybody else who might have difficulty having that available for their students, we're going to do everything we can do to help. And you know, we don't want to put anybody out. We don't want to make anybody's lives more difficult. So whatever we can do to help, we will. So I'll touch base with SAC, see if we can get out something very quickly to see if there's anybody else who might need a little assistance in acquiring a device for their child. And you know, again, this has been watered, even though it's a red Solo cup. But I thank you all for being a part of our community and sticking with us and putting your faith in us, and the encouragement and the support. There has been so much parent activity on some of these plans, and purchasing this equipment and doing the research and doing things behind the scenes, or sweating it out, ripping out shrubs, you know, to make those emergency exits safer. I believe Father is calling them his garden angels. It's a nice pun, but we would not be able to do this without you. And especially now, as we're trying to keep our kids safe and protected, we need you more than ever, and we need your support and your diligence. And we also need your grace and your understanding, and know that we are doing everything we can to be ready for that first day of school, so that those kids can come back, and for the kids who are online, so that they won't miss a beat either. The teachers have been really, really cranking it out, and I got to tell you, I have seen more collaboration since March, and especially during this summer, with these teachers and staff than ever before, and they are incredible. You know, and they're here for you. They're here for the kids, as am I. So God bless you all. I'll make sure that once this recording saves, that we are able to post that out. And if you have any questions, again, in the next 2 days, email Lynn or email some of those first or 8th grade teachers. And then I'll be back on Monday to check my email box. We can't wait to see life in this school. It's been March in this building for far too long. I can't wait for it to be August and September. So God bless everyone. Please be safe out there. Enjoy the next few days and the weekend. And again, any other questions, email Lynn or any of the teachers, and then I'll be back on Monday if there's anything further that I can do in this last week as we lead up to school. And we look forward to seeing you at the virtual Meet the Teacher Nights on Wednesday and Thursday of next week, starting at 6 o'clock, and that information will come out to you from Lynn Marchese. And once again, this has been brought to you by MedAir. Hospital grade H13 HEPA filters that will be in every single classroom, that don't not necessarily filter out viruses, but also allergens, pet dander, dusts, dust mites, and odor. Thank you all. God bless you, and have a wonderful next couple of days, and we'll talk to you again on Monday.